The views and opinions expressed on the cap are those of the hosts. They do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of OldMilk Media. Any opinions stated aren't intended to offend anyone. All right, this is episode 405 of the Cap Podcast. Welcome back. Taylor, how you doing today?
Doing great. It's finally, I know the East Coast. So for like 2 weeks, it didn't feel like June or even the end of May in California at all. And now it's like sun's out and it's hot here. And now the East Coast has like gray weather and it's cold over there now. So I'm doing good. I was doing poorly last weekend, but I'm doing good now.
Yeah, on Friday, at least in New York City, it was like 91 or something like that. And then it rained and then it got down to like the 70s again. So
Yeah.
I could probably like walk outside like this and be fine, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
As far as starting it up before we actually get into the music, we are at the best and worst time of the NBA season, the NBA finals. Best because it's what we've been waiting the whole season for, but worse because after this, there's like nothing to watch or nothing NBA to watch. And then they're going to try to be like, oh, look at the offseason. Look at how all these players are moving. Isn't this as fun as watching players on the court playing basketball? And no, it isn't. But regardless, we have the Nuggets and Miami Heat in the NBA finals. And Taylor, let me just tell you, after game one, not even, after 6 minutes in game one, watching Aaron Gordon catch all those easy passes and dunk them, Nuggets in 4.
I'm certainly not going to argue with you. That's what I hope happens. I hope that team from down there suffers.
You need vengeance for them allowing the Celtics to lead you on for 3 games.
I need something. I need their undrafted players who made a deal with the devil to shoot 1,000% against the Celtics and then pulled up in the finals and can't hit a shot. I need punishment there.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, because Miami is so much smaller than Denver, there will be a lot of punishing that Jokic does in the post. So there you go.
And Caleb Martin went what 3 for some big number. He was terrible in game 1, and now he's sick. Oh, but against the Celtics, he's like doing like Steve Smith hezzy moves on the baseline and fall away jumpers and like
he's your new Goran Dragic.
Nah, no one will scare me like Goran Dragic.
Being scared of Goran Dragic is like the most random thing an NBA fan could do. But honestly, I understand it.
He just shows up in so many different uniforms. Like, it doesn't matter where he's at. He'll just show up and hit like back-breaking threes against the Celtics and then leave. And then it'll be on the next team the next year. Even when his teams doesn't win, he's still doing this stuff. That's why it's bad.
Something about that green and white just gets him going.
I guess so, man. He's something else.
I gotta change your color scheme just so Goran Dragic can't terrorize you guys anymore.
Yeah, I think the Celtics are a real strong candidate to change their colors.
Out of all they're probably the least likely besides the Lakers.
The Lakers already have changed their colors once.
Oh yeah, that's true. But like Los Angeles,
the Celtics have the same exact green and white uniforms that they were wearing in like the 40s.
And then they had like
same ones.
You know what I never understood? This is completely random. Like some of the old Celtics courts where they had like the red hash marks on the free throw in the paint. I never really. Why is it red? What about your history is red? Well, I guess red are.
I think that's a gym thing.
Okay.
I think that's just like a.
So like TD Garden made that call.
That was a Boston Garden. That was the old Garden.
No, it was still in TD Garden too. Like the Rondo years, it was red. It was weird.
Oh, I thought you were talking way back. I don't know.
No. I don't know.
I guess I know honestly
about Celtics history.
I never even noticed that, honestly.
All right. Well, next time you see the 08 finals and you see it, just throw it out there. Anyway, time for Nikola Jokic to rise up and show us who the best player in the NBA is. But moving on. This is the Cat Podcast, episode 405. Thank you for watching. It's your weekly tour through hip hop. My name is Nate Sperlin. That is Taylor McLeod. Thank you for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and more. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OldMilk Media. And you can get this beanie at oldmilk.co. So definitely check that out as well. Taylor, I already asked you how you're doing, so I'm just going to go straight into the segment. We are going to talk about our power rankings for this week. And the first, well, do you want to go first? I could go first. You can go first. It doesn't matter. Go first.
This okay.
Let me go to the lob. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be Nikola Jokic. I'm gonna embrace my Nikola Jokic, my inner Nikola Jokic, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say when I'm open, I shoot. I am not open right now, so here you go. Here's the ball.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know about throwing lobs. I think me and you are at a place where I don't know if either of us are ever gonna catch a lob. But so my album rankings this week, I've been kind of going back a couple years. So my number one album is Suffolk County by Cousin Stiz. That definitely started during the Celtics playoffs run, just playing Boston. I mean, any Celtics playoff run, I'm playing Cousin Stiz the whole time. So that's Suffolk County. I have Ways of Knowing by Navy Blue, unsurprisingly at number 2. And then If You're Reading This, It's Too Late by Drake is my number 3. So kind of feels weird calling that a throwback, but it has been 8 years since it came out. So I guess you could call it that a little bit, but that's kind of been finding its way back into my rotation recently.
Yeah, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late is one of the most interesting albums of probably the most interesting album of Drake's career, just because of like all the hoopla around it about like ghostwriters and stuff like that. And also it being like that was really like the first time that Drake himself tried to make trap music or like tried trap beats and stuff like that. So that really, for me at least, that was like my favorite Drake album until Meek exposed him, and I was like, oh, I can't touch this anymore. I listen to real hip hop. But anyway, um, number three on
that's foolish.
number 3 on my list is Jupiter's Diary, 7-Day Theory by Rod Wave. And then number 2, I have the album that we just talked about, Almost Healed by Lil Durk. And then finally, number 1, I want to see how long she's able to stay here in this spot. SZA's SOS, still amazing. I listened to it in the shower before this also. So yeah, I don't see that changing anytime soon. And moving on to verses, we are comparing 2 Moneybagg Yo tracks. We're going to compare Switches and Drakes and Free Promo, both off of Moneybagg Yo's last album, Gangster's Pain. Switches and Drakes was on the deluxe version, and Free Promo was on the original version. Free Promo features Polo G and Lil Durk, and Switches and Drake features ESTG and also Lil Durk. So that being said, between Switches and Drakes and Free Promo, Taylor, which one do you prefer?
Switches and Drakes easily, I think. Everything about that song to me is perfect for what it is. The song itself is perfect, and I think that getting 3 artists from 3 different places who all can do well, maybe not ESTG as much, but with Durk and Moneybagg Yo, like they can do the melodic thing, they can do the they can do the more listenable song approach. But I do love it when you get a bunch of artists together and they get into like the scary raps, and I think that's the perfect song. I mean, obviously from the title on down, but what really sold me on this song is the music video. Like they're all in this garage with all like the red cars around, and then they're just like going through their verses, and then they're on the tarmac with the private jet, and Durk has the money, and it's so Durk and Moneybagg Yo do their thing, like that's expected, but that was kind of like the song last year that cemented ESTG as like, all right, he is all the way here, and he's holding his own against Durk and Moneybagg Yo, who, at that point, I don't know if they were superstars yet, but they were definitely on their way. They were definitely like in this like burgeoning group of star rappers. And for ESTG to get on there and do what he did, I think that makes it easily my favorite song off of Moneybagg Yo's last album.
All right. See, this is probably the hardest verses that I'm gonna have to argue against because I play Switches and Drake literally every time I work out. So, but that being said, Free Promo for me is the better one. I was listening to it nonstop when it came out. First of all, it's the example of having the melodic Avengers on an album or on a track. Excuse me. Yeah, Polo G, who I prefer to be melodic. Lil Durk, who I've talked about this many times before. I prefer him to not be melodic, but in this case, I enjoy that. And then Moneybagg Yo also as well. And also, I like one of the Moneybagg Yo's lines. First of all, we don't condone violence on this. This is not really. This doesn't count as a family program, but we're gonna try to be a family program for 1 second here. by not condoning violence. But anyway, when Moneybagg Yo says my ops ain't worth killing, but that doesn't change the fact that they need to die, like, okay, I'm sold. Now at the end, also, I think when you have the guitar riffs at the end, when everyone's finished their verses, and you have like the producer tags come in, think we found a loophole, and turn me up YC, it's just like, okay, this is like real music. And because of that, I gotta go with free promo. But that being said, after this commercial break, we will be talking about Hard to Love by Moneybagg Yo, his latest mixtape. Don't touch that dial or computer or keyboard or mouse or whatever. Yo, this Young Lil album is the best of all time. I can't wait to talk to Taylor about it, man. This is gonna be the greatest thing ever. Yo, what's good, Taylor? How you doing?
I hate this album.
Do you have to clean your ears first?
My girlfriend said everything I play in the car scares her. She said I lost all my taste.
Clearly.
And I need your help.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it? You want me to order you Q-tips?
No, I need hoodies. I need a beanie. I need t-shirts. I need you to help.
All right, I'll see what I can do. I can send you this beanie, but everything else we're gonna have to see. Introducing the 2023 Old Milk Collection. This collection, comprised of hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, and stickers designed by Nate Sperlin, is guaranteed to show everyone your superior style and taste. Man, I hope Taylor doesn't scare the viewers with that bummy outfit. Oh, no bummy outfit today. Look at that.
No, I'm much better. The album sounded better. Everything is better. All thanks to Old Milk.
Rush over to oldmilk.co to shop the 2023 Old Milk Collection today. All right, welcome back to episode 405 of the Cat Podcast. On this episode, we will be talking about Hard to Love by Moneybagg Yo. This is a 20-track, 56-minute mixtape featuring Future, Friday, YTB Fat Wizza, Lil Durk, and Glorilla. Moneybagg Yo made sure that everyone knew it was a mixtape. When he was posting the track list, he included this little note on Instagram and Twitter. Moneybagg Yo says, appreciate to all y'all for being patient with me. It's been a long 2 years and honestly don't even feel like it. The shit that went on could have broke me to my knees, but I'm too hard body for that. This tape, I got real personal, touched on pain, vulnerability, and substance abuse. Shout out to everyone who played a part in putting this together. This mixtape is the single to my upcoming album. Trust me, this shit gonna set the summer on fire. Hard to Love, the mixtape out now. All right. That being said, Taylor, what did you think about Hard to Love, the mixtape? It's not an album, it's a mixtape.
Yeah, so I was really glad that he included that note to contextualize that, because I think that mixtapes and albums are different, and I think it's important to have that distinction, especially in a time when everything just goes up on Apple or Spotify or whatever, and it all looks the same, it all feels the same. You don't always get that distinction. So anytime an artist really makes a point to say, this is a mixtape, this is not my album, I go into it with that understanding and with that in mind, because like I do think that's important. So coming into this, I would say that my opinion on Moneybagg Yo is pretty much in the middle. Like, obviously he's talented, but I didn't have any investment necessarily in what he was doing. It's like I would listen to whatever he puts out. If he gets on a feature, I'm listening to it. And I always liked him as a rapper, but there wasn't that like fandom there, right? And after this mixtape, I definitely feel myself leaning more towards like, all right, I'm ready for what's coming next. And I'm excited for what's coming next, because honestly, I like this project a lot. I think it's a little too long at 20 tracks, but I think that his raps are good. Some of the hooks that he put on this tape are really show like where he is most talented, because I think that a lot of people can rap now. Like at this point, there's so many people who can rap. Like they can put a verse together and make it sound good. But really to be able to get in and out of the verses and have the hooks hit as hard as some of the hooks on this project do, really, really, I like this project a lot. I don't know if it has a ton of lasting power for me or for the general audience, but right now, after a couple listens in the moment, I definitely like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad he labeled it a mixtape and he went out of his way to do so. That completely changes my perspective of it. Like he said, we've been waiting 2 years for a new album. I really, really enjoyed A Gangsta's Pain. Obviously, I enjoyed the deluxe as well. And aside from being on the CMG album that came out last year that I also really enjoyed, we really haven't seen much of Moneybagg Yo aside from a few features and aside from a few singles. That being said, if this was the album after the 2-year wait from A Gangsta's Pain, I would rip it to shreds. First of all, the track list doesn't have any of the bells and whistles I'm expecting from a Moneybagg Yo album. Like the features is kind of like lacking, for a lack of a better term. It's really just like in terms of major features, it's really just Future and Lil Durk. Glorilla's on her way, but she's not there yet. Um, Additionally, I think that because this is a mixtape, I can now see how this serves as a sampler for his incoming album. I think there are a few concepts that could have been executed better, but going through what he's been going through, and he tells us this on More Sick, I understand why there isn't much of, it seems like there's a lack of focus throughout this album, or excuse me, throughout this mixtape, when it comes to track listing, when it comes to how are you going to close out songs, when it comes to some of the hooks, just repeating the same line over and over again. There isn't really much energy on there. Carrying on with that theme of not much energy, some of the beats, like there aren't much color. There isn't much color on this album at all, and that really comes from the lack of color on the beats. For the most part, you have like these kind of fast paced bass patterns with the hi-hats, and I enjoy those. But then under it, there isn't really much. It might be just like a few predictable notes that are played on loop over and over again. I think that one thing that um Lil Durk's album did, Almost Healed, did for 2023, for me at least, is it reminded me how good production can be. And because of that, I see myself holding every other artist in the same lane as Lil Durk to that standard. And honestly, I think that the beats on Almost Healed, and compared to the beats on this, I keep saying album, this mixtape, um name of the mixtape is Hard to Love. The difference between, you can't compare it at all. Like it's Almost Healed, and I don't think the beats on here are really any close. I also think that on What You Want, I don't want to hear anything like that again. It's a poor man's We Cry Together by Kendrick Lamar. I get the concept of it, but I don't think it's really fully fleshed out in the same way. Um, I think, yeah, and from that, also, I think that More Sick is the most important track on the album. Moneybagg Yo, that's where we really understand why Moneybagg Yo has been, for the most part, absent for the past 2 years, talking about how he lost his brother and he lost the mother of his kids. So he has to take in the kids of his brother and also his own kids, basically single parenting in that way. So you can imagine how much more of, for a lack of a better term, well, let me not say burden, for how much more of a challenge that is to maneuver between trying to rise, being really the face of CMG, and then also having to take care of all these kids who, in the brother's case, are not yours, and also like you don't have that help from the mother of the kids as well. So that is definitely something that I can see, and I think that shows, and I think that's a valid um reason why there isn't really much, it doesn't feel like there's much thought put into this album. So, or mixtape. So I appreciate the context that Moneybagg Yo gives us in relating to Hard to Love. But overall, is this something that I'm going to be playing over and over again? No, not really. I'd rather just go back to listen to Gangsta's Pain in preparation for the next album that comes out.
Yeah, I see. For me, I think a lot of your critiques almost make me like this more. I think that I think you're right about all of it, and I think all of that kind of reflects where he's at, especially like, and we don't normally get the context like he provided us at the end of More Sick, where it's just him talking. It's not like in a verse where he put it together and you kind of have to like pull the things out of it and be like, all right, here's this. Like, you know, he literally, I think it's a minute plus where he's just talking about what's been happening the last year. So it does make sense why he has been away for almost 2 years at this point. And just in terms of putting out a full album. And in terms of like the lack of focus that you mentioned and the kind of flatness, and there's like a almost like a dullness to this project, I think that's all really reflective of the feelings he said he's been dealing with at the end of that song. I think it is like it's the time where it's like, yeah, there's little moments on this project where he really hits that like superstar stride, right? But there's also moments where, like you said, it's like the hook is the same line over and over again. And I think there's a lot of artists, and especially there's a lot of artists where where like drug use and drug abuse and addiction is such a big part of their music, but sometimes you don't notice it, right? Sometimes it's like, yeah, it's here, but like there's a bunch of other stuff as well. This project more so than any of the others, because even like Waukesha kind of like puts it in a perspective where it's like, all right, yeah, like it is what it is and everyone knows what it is, but it's also like this like super hot song,
Mm-hmm.
right? That like has this impact where like kids who don't even really like listen to rap were like, you know what I mean? Like texting me being like, oh, have you heard Waukesha by Moneybagg Yo? And I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? But this project really felt super, super concentrated on that drug use and the drug abuse and acknowledging that the dark side of that and the negativity that comes with that, but kind of trying to fight through it. And on More Sick, he says that. He says
Yeah.
like there's this like dichotomy of being like this superstar artist who has to keep putting on and keep making this money and keep keep holding up the what it means to be a superstar rapper in 2023, but there's also like real life happening. And I think there's a bunch of moments on this album that really stand out to me where he says it plainly. He's like, yeah, I am Moneybagg Yo, but like I go through the same things that like regular people go through. And I think that's really important. And I think that's where like the mixtape part of it becomes important because it is an easier way to get actually vulnerable and get right down to it as opposed to being like, all right, I need this song for this purpose, this song for that purpose. So I almost think those moments and how that whole album feels almost makes this like way more of a almost like more of a real project to me than something that's like super like feature heavy, super like, you know, crazy instrumentals from huge producers. Like I kind of like all that stuff.
Understandable. So based off of Hard to Love, what are you expecting from the new Moneybagg Yo album whenever it comes out? And also, when would you expect it to come out?
Well, he said he's going to set the summer on fire. So I'm thinking July or August. I
Mhm.
don't know if it'll come right after this project. And I think based on that note that he left on Instagram, I think it's going to be closer to a Gangsta's Pain. You know what I mean? Like I think it's going to be with the features. Like I mean, he had Future and Lil Durk on a mixtape, which is like, you know, those are two huge names, and even like you said, Glorilla. So I'm anticipating that's like the big project. That's like the, you know, like this is my album, and I think, yeah. So I would expect something closer to a Gangsta's Pain, maybe with a bunch more like acknowledgement of what's been going on in the last year for him. But I would expect something like you said, with more like I think you put it perfectly, like more bells and whistles.
Yeah, I think maybe early July I can see it coming. I think also this album coming up for Moneybagg Yo is very important. I didn't realize it. Well, I probably realized it, but I forgot. A Gangsta's Pain sold 105 first week. That's very close, if not superstar status. So this album is very important to show us if Moneybagg Yo is really a superstar in hip hop or is he just like a niche Southern artist. So that's really what I'm going to be looking at. Also, some other things that I might want that I want from the album. I do want more color on the beats. I just want it to be a full polished production. And he's capable of doing that. He gave it to us on A Gangsta's Pain. I just need him to do it for us again. Um, Moving on, what are your favorite tracks, Taylor?
So I have four of them. I really like Lies with Friday. I
Mm,
like that Friday kind of singing backing vocals during the hook makes it feel like a sample, but it's not a sample. I really like that. I think that's a good song. Show Liz, I think that's like the toughest song. Like that's kind of like Moneybagg Yo kind of standing up to what's been going on, and that's like the most like kind of like strong song on this mixtape to me. Ocean Spray, best hook on the project for me. I love Ocean Spray so much. That's easily been the most played song. I think that's like the best feeling song on this project, which
mm,
it comes in the amidst a bunch of songs that are like kind of like harder to deal with and like more important to deal with. And then More Sick is my number one track just because he really gets into it, whether it's like the verses on the first three quarters or the last bit where he's really just talking about everything that's happening and providing context for that next listen. I think those are my four. So it's yeah. So Lies, Show Liz, Ocean Spray, and More Sick.
we only differ with one track. Number four for me is Shoal Is. Number three for me is Lies. The Friday singing with, I think Moneybagg Yo does a little melody on that too, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken. Yeah, I like how that comes together. That was really one of the best examples of polish on this mixtape. Hurt Man is where we disagree. I got Hurt Man instead of Ocean Spray. I think the concept of explaining to fans why he's been virtually absent for the past 2 years could have been executed with Hurtman and just a 2-pack of Hurtman and More Sick. More Sick is the most important song on this mixtape. It's not close because again, he gives us the context of what's been going on with him. So yeah, that's what I have. I have Show Liz, I have Lies featuring Friday, Hurtman, and then More Sick. 4-1. Those are my favorite tracks. Moving on to rating this mixtape. Taylor, what do you have for personal playback value and objective playback value?
So for me, this is the type of music that I end up playing a lot because I definitely play like the more like vulnerable tapes a lot more actual like personal mixtapes, personal projects, because I want to hear like you know that's how I end up becoming fans of artists, like through that kind of music. So I think that this is like, for me, I think this could definitely stay in rotation for at least a few weeks, and whether that's like Ocean Spray. Ocean Spray is super fun to me, so like that's gonna stay in all summer. Like that, I love that song. But the tape as a whole, I think it'll honestly, the runtime for me will be similar to the runtime for everyone else, which is it's until the album comes out. I think for someone like me who's been slowly like getting into Moneybagg Yo more, this is the perfect project to put me on like a ramp up into another album. And for people who are already fans, I think it's honestly the same, where it's like there's enough there that it can really carry you into album time. So I think for me and for everyone else, it'll be until the album comes, which, as we said, probably July, maybe August, something like that.
Yeah. For me, I have 1 week. I'll keep listening to this mixtape. I'm so used to saying album. I'll keep listening to this mixtape, just to see if there's any more tidbits that I can get from it. But realistically, I probably would just go back to listening to Gangsta's Pain, and that would prepare me more or get me more hyped up for what Moneybagg Yo has next for us. Objectively, I see it 2 weeks. I don't really see much buzz around this mixtape. I also, a lot of the hits, like the one with Glorilla that I'm forgetting the name of, like there are a lot of songs here that had come out before this mixtape was even announced in the first place, like months and months before. So because of that, I don't really see how there could be much momentum built from this mixtape, aside from us being reminded that Moneybagg Yo is back and he's actually trying to make an album or in the process of making an album. So because of that, I really only see it lasting 2 weeks. All right. That being said, thank you for watching episode 405 of the Cat Podcast. Let us know what you think of Hard to Love in the comments below. And also let us know how excited you are for the next Moneybagg Yo album. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Old Milk Media. Check out the Old Milk merch on oldmilk.co. That is Taylor McLeod. I am Nate Sperlin. We will be back when hip hop tells us to be, and we are out.
Flamingo.
Old Milk.